we'll go to the next slide. So we want to differentiate the mind and the soul. The soul is eternal. These are all according to the philosophy and spiritual understanding of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is a 5,000-year-old ancient yoga text. It's never been altered. So the Vedas, then you have the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavad Gita is this book over here. It's over 700 verses. I think we need to put some up there sooner. And then you have the Bhagavatam, which is 18,000 verses, and it's very, very in-depth about self-realization, spirituality. So the mind and the soul is the eternal, unchanging self, pure consciousness and part of the divine, covered by temporary material layers. So these are different layers here. The soul, then you have the mind and intelligence covering that, and then above that is the gross material body. So it's in layers. The soul's deep in there. So the subtle body, which we talked a little bit about last week with the dreams, subtle body, the mind, intelligence, and false ego, that comprises the subtle body, carries the soul from one life to the next and shapes perception and desire. So like the decisions that we make, even the foods that we eat, the energies that we're around, they affect us on a subtle level. That's why sometimes you can feel a subtle energy, or you're just like, you walk into an old house and you feel like, whoa, I can't be a part of this right now. The subtle body is being affected by it. And even when the material body kind of turns off at night, as we spoke about last week, the subtle body is still very much active. It can actually leave the gross body and go to other places. This is called astral projection. So that's the subtle influence. The gross body is the physical machine of 5 elements. We'll get into that. Both coverings are discarded at death, but the soul remains untouched. So, at the time of death, sometimes you may see somebody, or you've seen videos, or maybe even seen a ghost before. That's a subtle body that's maybe still attached to its gross form, and it needs to move on. But typically, these things are both discarded at death, and the soul will just transmigrate into another body based upon its desires and intentions that were cultivated in this lifetime and over the course of many lifetimes. So why should we detox? Modern life can equal mental pollution at times. Some of the things that we often talk about are overconsumption of screen time. The average person spending 4+ hours daily on devices disrupts our mental clarity, whether it be cell phones, TVs, computers. It can actually increase stress, and it can impact our sleep quality. So these are a couple of things. Routine activities dominate life. Essential tasks like sleeping, working, driving, and chores consume most of our time, leaving little space for mindful living. We'll get into that. We'll kind of unpack that a little bit. And conscious time management is crucial. Awareness of how time is spent empowers us to reduce distractions, cultivate peaceful habits, and nourish our inner well-being. We have a teacher, his name's Vaisheshika Prabhu. He's really like just practical, right? How to incorporate spirituality with modern life. And one of the things he said was, we often make a to-do list, but we should make a to-not-to-do list. Things not to do throughout the day too. So I thought, wow, that's really nice. You can kind of flip it there. What should I not do? What do I need to decrease so that way I can have that conscious time for myself, between myself and the divine, so I can get some real nourishment that can help me kind of get through these other things.
I like the zombies in the...
I feel it. You got the bats, the buildings, and you're totally just consumed. It's like when you get sucked in, it's so like, minutes, seconds, hours can just fly by like nothing, when that could have been used for something more productive, nourishing. This is a general kind of scope what the average person goes through. Let's say on a good day you get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. maybe you do about 2.5 hours social media, 1 hour driving, maybe to and from work, 5 to 8 hours of work. And then you got 3 hours of just getting things done around your house for yourself. So let's take it conservatively. You can go 3, 8, 9, 11 and a half. That's about 18.5 hours, conservatively speaking. It could go up to 20, 21, easy, 22. But let's say, so you've got about 5.5 hours there. Or maybe you still need to shower, or you're just decompressing, or you're catching up with family and friends. So how are we using that time wisely? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, time I am. There's actually a verse there I skipped over. Maybe we can just go to it. Who's on the call? Omkar, Hare Krishna, thanks for joining. Let's go to the verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says, one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul, us, and his enemy as well. So the mind can be the best friend or the enemy. We'll go down a little bit further. For man, mind is the cause of bondage, and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense objects is the cause of bondage, and mind detached from the sense objects is the cause of liberation. Therefore, the mind, which is always engaged in Krishna consciousness or God consciousness, is the cause of supreme liberation. So our mind can become very much attached to like material goods, and then that can kind of entrap us to where we just start becoming very degraded, right? If we start getting attached to just material conceptions, as opposed to it being liberated when we start to utilize those things possibly as a way of engagement to make us more spiritual, if that makes sense. So they become offerings rather than like the source of making us complete. Does that make sense? So in that way, we become liberated from the mind always hankering and thinking, oh, I need the next best thing, the iPhone 15, 16, whatever number we're on. You just become more satisfied and detached, you know? There's kind of a misconception where we can think, oh, detached, I need to go hide under a tree and just be detached from everything. But that doesn't work like that. We're living in the city. It's more about the detachment of expectations, you know? What's that? One of my friends, he said, no expectations, no disappointments. So we do our part, and then, you know, you leave the rest up to Krishna. Let's see. Can you see the screen, Omkar? I think you still can, right?
Is the
Yes, I can.
Oh,
thing with the motor that you were using, is that still outside?
Chainsaw.
Yeah,
I brought mine in the truck, but
there's one outside.
it's okay. We'll be okay. All right. So a little bit of engagement. Do you feel balanced in how you spend your time each day? Why or why not? Would anybody like to answer this? Do you feel balanced currently, today?
I've been specifically working on that,
Mm-hmm.
like balance it between like, I guess, like exercise, art, spending time in nature. There's one other thing, but like sometimes I tend to go overboard with one thing and trying to like make it kind of even that I do everything, one of everything during the day. I mean, I start my morning with like a spiritual practice too, but like so that's something that I'm working on.
It's difficult. Anybody else? Thank you for sharing. Balance.
My balance is appalling.
Appalling? Why?
Appalling. Because I work 12-hour days. Yeah, so I go to work, I'm just on the screens between work and
Nurse
Yeah.
life. Yeah, that's
yeah,
intense.
and then I get home.
Wiped
and I have
out.
Well, I'm not even necessarily wiped out, I'm just like, I have to sleep during the day to like reset, because I work at night, and then
All night shift.
even if I do reset, I'm like just stuck at home alone. And then like I'm bored because I'm not stimulated because I have ADHD. And the phone is the easiest stimulation, so it's like always on my phone.
Yeah.
My wrists are feeling it. I need to stop.
We have a couple of nurse friends. It's intense. It's an intense job. And then when you're there too, you have to really be in the moment with everybody. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, there was a nice diagram that we had one time in a workshop. It was like a circle with all of our activities, and then there were numbers going across, and it was like, yourself, let's say hobbies, work, and family, and then you put a number like, oh, my family is about a 6 right now. Myself, I'm about a 3, and then hobbies and work, whatever, a 5, a 9. Then you would fill it in, and then in this chart you could kind of see like, I'm a 3 over here, a 4 here, I'm a 9 at work. And you go like, how do I make this a little bit more balanced? There's an actor that he said that he would have these scenes like in this TV show. And it was like a really violent character he was playing. He says it would really drain him. And so he when he had like a heavy scene where he had to like get mad or something, he said he would go into sleep deprivation for like 3 or 4 days straight. He'd sleep 2 hours a night. And he says, therefore, you're really like angry or pissed off for that scene. So it's just natural. Like the Bhagavad Gita speaks about this: work, recreation, eating, and sleeping. These things have to be balanced. Otherwise, our emotions and our mind starts to go like, ooh. So it's really important to have this. And this is true yoga, according to the Bhagavad Gita, this balance. And this is probably the most popular question that we come across, which is, how do I balance my work life with my spiritual life? We'll get a little bit more into that.
All right, just not like give it all up.
Yeah, you can't. That's like artificial,
Like, let me just move to India.
Yeah, like Bhoga Tyagam. That's one of the concepts, which is just like, I'm gonna give up ice cream. I'm just done with it. And then like after a week, you just go on a binge, and then you give it up. Like it's there has to be some balance, some gradual understanding or process of these things. So we're going to get a little bit into inputs and outputs. So some inputs and outputs. Mental diet, your emotional state. Your mind consumes thoughts just as your body consumes food. Choose wisely. Consuming, nourishing, truth-filled content like spiritual yoga text or whatever, or spiritual things or enlightening things, positive things, things in the mode of goodness, clears away toxins of the mind. The quality of relationships. Toxic friendships or environments fuel unhealthy patterns of thinking and behavior. So our atmosphere too. And you see this guy bombarded with all these different bings and tings and dings. And it's just like, the more you go through, the more you sign up for, the more they come after, and you realize like, I'm not even interested in this. Like 70% of my emails are just junk. And that puts an energy inside of us. So these are some toxic inputs that can become outputs, This is a story of a sage, Bharat Maharaj. He was a king. He renounced his kingdom and he moved into the forest. He gave his kingdom up to his family. And this kind of shows the way inputs and outputs work. All of a sudden he thought he was great, because in the later years of one's life, it's said that you should really dedicate a lot more of your time and energy to being spiritually aware and focused. So he made an attempt to do just that. But while he was retired from his vast kingdom and family life and everything else, just becoming this sage, he became attached to a deer. And he was so obsessed with this deer, this little baby deer that he rescued from his mother. The baby deer's mother had died, and he just became so attached to it that even at the time of death, the deer kind of wandered off one day, and he was just totally freaking out, in anxiety about where's this deer, and he was calling out the deer. So his whole meditation on God went to meditation on deer, and he died of heartbreak. And so he's there like dying, and then all of a sudden the deer comes out of nowhere and just kind of starts looking at him. And therefore he took the body of a deer in his next life. So all that time to renounce, give up his kingdom, he ended up taking the body of a deer, but he was fully aware and fully conscious of what happened in his previous life while he was in this deer body. So this deer would go and hang out around ashrams, local ashrams where there was monks speaking and giving out wisdom and knowledge. And therefore he was remembering properly, left the deer body, took another human birth, and then perfected his life. It's a whole drama, Bharat Maharaj. But it just goes to show what we're putting in at the time of death can affect us and our next journey or destiny. Of course, karma and reincarnation, two big telling themes according to the Vedas. So by absorbing higher vibrations, the soul naturally reawakens to joy and peace. So we purify the inputs. So there's goodness, passion, and ignorance. There's sattvagun, there's rajagun, and there's tamas or tamasic energy. So there's sattvic, which is pure, the mode of goodness influences. So sacred sound, meditation, kirtan, yoga, things that are in the mode of goodness, they help to purify our inputs. Association with spiritual-minded people, this is called satsang or sangha. And in the real world, you can curate your mind space like your home. Only let in what uplifts you. Nobody wants any sort of like burglars or rogues or thieves in their house, right? Like if you have any sort of, you're like, hey, kind of check them at the door. How can I help you? Like it's one of those things. Similarly with the mind, it's the same thing. We should be very cautious about what we live in, and we should really examine things as much as possible. So this is the opposite here. You have this picture of this person downloading all this positive information, and they're able to retain something that's helpful. Your mind, there's another analogy. Your mind is a garden. What are you planting? Planting seeds. If you plant anger, fear, greed, you harvest misery. If you plant devotion, gratitude, wisdom, you harvest peace. That makes any sense? Be intentional with every choice. You're building your future self now. There's a nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Rajas tamas chabibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata. Rajas sattvam tamas chaiva tamas sattvam rajas tata. Sometimes the mode of goodness, there's a goodness, passion, and ignorance again. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. Son of Bharta. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance. And at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. So these are called the three modes of material nature. They're considered like laws, right? Like, if you wake up in the morning and you kind of do some yoga, some prayer, meditation, take a walk, whatever it is, that's considered like the mode of goodness. Things are a lot calmer. 12 p.m., 1 p.m., people are zipping down the freeway, trying to get to their lunch break, or whatever it is. It becomes a little more passionate. And then at night, people kind of just let go a little bit more, in whatever kind of ways, We just had a councilwoman that got caught with a DWI. Coming back from a swanky club, according to the newspaper. I don't know what swanky means. What, is that like yuppie, or what is that, swanky?
Swanky.
Do they have that in San Antonio?
Swanky means like cool.
Okay. They had to throw that in there,
Like,
She came from a
like,
swanky.
She was at a cool kids club.
Yeah. Well, she got busted, and
Yeah, like high end.
Yeah, I mean, this is our actual council district representative and leader.
Super cool.
And it goes to show too, like even our leaders are going through difficulties, and now she'll have to step down because of all this scandal or whatever. But that's considered the mode of darkness. And that happened at 2 or 3 in the morning, right? You ever notice that? You ever get somebody that calls you or hits you with something late at night and you're like, let's wait till tomorrow morning, Because it's usually a little bit more peaceful to handle things in the morning. Work, yeah.
They're texting all the time. They're like, can you change the schedule? And I'm like, can you leave me alone?
Protect your daily consciousness like you protect your health. I like that one too. So, simple detox practices you can start today. Morning mantra meditation, even for 5 minutes, or meditation. Daily mental fast. Technology breaks, quiet moments. Anybody ever lay down in bed and then it just hits you? It's like, oh, okay, this is what I've been putting off. Put the phone down, and then it's just like, oh my God, here's my own thoughts. I can't sleep now, So that can happen. We have to, like, I have a friend who says between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. he does no phone every day. He just takes 12 hours. Seek uplifting spiritual sangha or association regularly. Once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever you can do. We even have Zoom stuff. We're always here as friends. Reflect and journal. This is another idea. People like to journal. What did I consume today? Food, media, conversations. Interesting. What did I consume? I like this cleaning this mirror and actually seeing what's out there. So similarly, we have to kind of cleanse our consciousness, the subtle energy, the subtle body. That's what we're after, you know? It's not always just so physical, dressing the body, buying something cool to put on the body, but subtle elements as well. Okay, another question for 10 points. Think about your thoughts today. What seeds have you been planting in your mind? How do you think these seeds will shape your life in the weeks ahead? So today, anybody want to share what seeds they've planted in their mind? Rudy? Did you plant any seeds today?
Today?
Yeah.
Well, last night I did.
Yeah?
Last night I did a few. It was interesting. I had a little hot tub party last night with my cousin and two of my friends, and I was just listening to them talk, and you know, they talked about a lot of things that I usually don't even bother thinking about. So I'm here with them, and we're having a nice time, and we have the music playing, and all this, and I'm just thinking, God, they do things that they vape. You know, they vape.
Oh, wow.
They're talking about, you know, marijuana laws, and they're talking about these things, and I'm thinking, I haven't done anything like that in a long time. But I'm just gonna go along listening, and I'm in my mind, I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about. Like I'm thinking, like, what am I thinking? Am I being judgmental against them? I was doing this not too long ago, and. But anyway, I still love my friends and my cousin. It's just kind of like they're so different from me now. I don't think they realize that I don't even do these things anymore. And but I still love them. So sometimes I feel like, you know, I kind of want them to kind of see my perspective a little bit more, but I don't think they're interested. So I'm kind of I wonder. When I associate with the people that I've grown up with and I've been friends and everything with for so long that they don't want to change, and I'm kind of like, well, I mean, I still can kind of love them, but I can't participate in the same things that they're participating in. But it's kind of interesting to think about like how they influence me. You know, that's what I was thinking last night.
Yeah, that's pretty deep sometimes. Yeah, like
And I'm in a hot tub with them. I'm stewing with them right now. You know, I'm literally mixing with them. Anyway, I changed the water this morning.
Get on the mind.
No, I was like, when I woke up, I was like, you know what? It's time to clean the hot tub.
there's a seed.
So it's clean now.
Wow. Yeah, what you said you want them to change. But sometimes they won't accept that you've changed too. It's like a weird.
Yeah, I think they know that I've changed, but I see that they're unhappy, and I can see why they're unhappy, and I can kind of see the results of their decision making and their thinking, and you know, like they were doing the vape and they were blowing this smoke, and there was nicotine in the smoke, and I'm like, is there nicotine in there? And they were like, yeah. Okay. So every time the smoke came out, I held my breath, you know, because I'm like clear of all this stuff. I'm clear of nicotine, caffeine. I've cleared a lot of stuff out, but it's kind of like, you know, it's just they're in a different place than I'm at now, and you know, so I kind of would like them to. I would like them to kind of. I've invited them to come here, you know, but they don't want to. So there's people in my life that they're where they're at, and I just gotta let them be that, you know.
Accepting people where they're at.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Omkar, do you have anything you want to share in Zoom land? You can.
I would say just be non-judgmental, like being compassionate and empathetic.
Non-judgmental, empathetic.
Because if you tend to resist things I mean, especially like if you perceive something that is like there is something that's wrong in your perspective, you tend to get into like that resisting mindset or fighting, like kind of what we talked yesterday.
Mm.
So just instead of like judging a situation or person, you can just be compassionate towards that.
Yeah, it's real easy to get frustrated when the opposite of
Mm-hmm.
passionate and tolerance. I've noticed that. Thank you for sharing.